Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Monday vlog. Hold on one second, I just remembered I need to turn my volume off so that doesn't get to us. But a little bit changed the scenery. I'm here at the restaurant. I'm in the backyard in the snowball area over here by the horseshoe pit. So I can sit out here, enjoy the weather a little bit of sunshine, and go over some stuff. And that way we're not inside. You may hear some traffic going back and forth because I'm right here at the highway. But for those of you that have been watching the channel and those of you around this area can tell that, like this, there's very minimal traffic right now. So before I get into the whole questions and answers and take everybody's questions here live, I also have a list of some questions that people have been sending me, asking in emails, Facebook and stuff like that. My question to you is, in your area, wherever you are around the world, are you seeing a reduce in traffic, reduce in people spending money? It just seems like people are vaporizing. The traffic here is normally bumper to bumper, and I mean, Memorial Day weekend. I mean, look at this. I mean, just forever until a car comes around. For a Memorial Day weekend, holiday weekend, I mean, it's just after 6 o'clock. People will be headed to dinner and things like that. We're just not getting that traffic. We're not getting the people coming through. I've talked to several people over the weekend that went down to the river, and they said if they saw 4 or 6 people at the river while they floated or kayaked or canoed or whatever, that was very rare. Normally Grinders Ferry, which is just down past me, Gilbert, Baker Ford, Woolham, they're normally all packed this time of year. This is the biggest holiday weekend out of the entire year for this area for everybody. And this year, just I think it's between the economy, everybody's cutting back. I can see it dramatically with the snowball. Not as many people want inner tubes or ice or anything like that. So it's severely cut down. So if you guys are seeing this, throw it in the chat room, throw it in the comments below if you watch this later, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be looking to see what life is like in other places. Because here, I mean, I know I'm in a small town, small area, but for this time of year, the last couple of years I've been here, it's never this slow. I'm driving to Harrison, and if I have one person in front of me all the way out to Harrison, it's just crazy. It's like a ghost town. But enough of that. So this week, I got a couple things that I got accomplished this week. More movie watching than anything. But I got water hauled for the animals earlier this week. I know I was supposed to do the Sunday Monday vlog yesterday like normal. I was going to haul water, but they ended up spending time with the animals. So I never hauled water. That's why if you saw the notification this was going to go live stream at 8, then I moved it to 6:15 because I'm like, I need to get the water hauled for the animals, and I just decided do the live stream earlier, then I can get over there before it gets dark, haul the water, get that taken care of. Been working on an electric fence. I know I was scatterbrained when I was doing the 3-tier fence thing that I was talking about live stream, but that's because I was out in the heat. For those of you that don't live in a humid climate like Arkansas, I used to growing up, Maryland, Delaware, Florida. When I went down to Texas for the military, I was in San Antonio, humidity, red flag days, things like that. I'm not used to it. Spent the last 13 years prior to 2020. 2020 is when I moved here to Arkansas, for those of you that don't know. But I spent 13 years in Colorado where it's dry. If we have a 50% humidity day in Colorado, it's pretty rare. It can be raining, it can be snowing, it can be sleeting in Colorado, and we could still be sitting at 20% humidity. So out here during these days, even though we're only in the low 80s, we haven't even hit the hot part of the year. But even the low 80s with the humidity, it's hard to work more than an hour here, hour there, couple hours. The grass, you can see, is nice and tall. That needs to get mowed again. This side all needs to be mowed again. It's just a constant, repetitive thing during the summer of maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Because if you don't stay on it, it grows really quick. I'll show you an example. So here's the snowball area, the horseshoe pit. And that corner, right up there, I had the gate swung open. And I let that grow a little bit. And now it's just gone crazy on how tall it's grown, and I haven't cut it back. So now that there's flowers and everything there on that corner, it doesn't need to be cut. So I'm just going to let the flowers stay there, let all the flies, the bees, the beneficial insects have the pollen and the nectar from the flowers. Just let that grow. But here, I mean, it grows crazy. Here we go. I'll show you guys another view too. Hey, Andreas. I hope you're having a good evening too. So this is the woods here at the snowball stand, and it fills in so fast. And for those of you that been asking about seeds that I planted over there, you can see it's nothing but a jungle. So this is what I'm talking about. Out here, everything just takes over. If you don't maintain it, it's gone. For those of you that watched as I was creating the snowball area last year, all of this, there was no grass in here. All the way up to the dumpster, it was just wood, like down here. And I've turned this into grass. So you got to stay on it or it overgrows and just takes over everything. So to get into questions, hey, Happy Camper. Not having fun yet. I will be eventually. That's part of the goal, is get to the homestead and have fun. So like I said, I did the electric fence. I hauled water earlier. I'm going to haul water today. And then the two movies, which you guys probably be surprised. One of my favorite movies of all time is Grumpy Old Men. And I know there was a second done, but we all know that seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths of a movie just tend not to be good. And I finally, after all these years, I finally watched the second Grumpy Old Men. It's Grumpier Old Men. And it was decent, still not as good as the first. It was nice to see Max was able to find happiness as well. But I finally watched it. I know a lot of people have asked if I've seen it over the years. I haven't seen it. I finally watched it. It was decent, not as good as first one, but that's pretty much every movie. I don't know any movie that the second or third is better than the original. And then I just watched a brand new movie. Just came out this year. It's called Artifice Girl. It's about the new AI coming in. I'm not a big techie person. I'm not a computer person, so I don't know the probability of this. But I kind of like the idea of the movie from being ex-law enforcement to take care of those that want to mess with children. But basically the movie is about catching, like Chris Hansen's How to Catch the Predator. It goes off that basis, but it's all the new technology and how you can't tell the difference between a human and the AI and how the whole thing happens. So even if you're not a techie person, if you're looking for a good movie, it's Artifice, Artifice Girl, and that was very good. I highly recommend watching that movie. It was good. And so highly recommend that movie. But let's get into everybody's questions that I've had building up. For those of you there's a couple people out there that are still texting me 7 days a week. Just so you know, the reason I still haven't answered you is because if I'm not having a regular conversation with you and you're sending me messages constantly, I'm having it sent to the spam box. And then I'll go over to spam box every once in a while, go through and look. But like I said, I've got so many people emailing me, text messaging me, and everything else. If it's important, um, if it's something that you feel is important and you want to call me, then that's the best way. I'll answer my phone unless I'm in the shower or working on the homestead, or if I'm down in the homestead and my phone's in the truck. That's the only time I don't answer my phone. Besides that, I answer my phone all the time. But I still have several people, I'm not going to name names or anything, but every day, still, even today, got messages from them. All my information's online, Happy Camper. Uh, so if you're intrigued to do that, you can hop online. Everything's online. With Facebook or YouTube, I have it down in the description. Because I do get a lot of emails and stuff. Emails I do respond to, but the text messaging that people send me, I mean, I've got this one person that I get like 20 to 30 text messages a day. Um, just that's one person. So trying to keep up with people in the text messaging, it's just not going to happen. So if I haven't responded to you, if you're one of the people that are watching, that's why. If it's somebody that I've conversated with over the years, I don't have you on the spam box. I don't have you blocked or anything like that. I have responded. So if you haven't been responded to, that's because you're newer and you constantly send messages over and over. Let's see. I just got something. Okay. Happy Camper, you just had your message blocked by YouTube because you cussed in a message or something. YouTube just told me that you use profanity. So you cannot use profanity when you're commenting here on YouTube because YouTube will block you. But anyhow, I just want to get that over because that's one of the questions I've had people asking why I'm not responding and doing stuff like that. That's the reason why. For the electric fence video that I just got done doing, that I was a little off because it was hot. I had been out there for a couple hours in the heat, so my mind wasn't focused. So I was kind of scatterbrained all over the place. I had a couple questions. Why don't I just do one strand of electric fence like a lot of horse places do? Instead of spending all the money to run 5 strands of electricity. Well, the reason I'm doing that, no, I didn't get any new baby animals yet, Happy Camper. And I'll get back to questions. So if you guys want to put questions in here, I'll scroll through, and I'll do that after I go through these questions, and I'll scroll through the chat, and I'll cover any questions in the chat. So that way I don't go off topic, and I can get through all this, and then I'll get through all your questions at the end. The reason I'm not doing one strand electric fence and I'm spending the money, yes, it's going to cost more money to do the 5 strands, is for multiple reasons. One, I don't just have horses, or I just don't have cows. If you have one size animal and all those animals are used to it, then that works for those animals. But I have pigs, I have goats, I have horses, I have donkeys, I have cows, I have camels. So I need levels for all the different size animals, because a wire up here at 4 feet that will stop the camels, the horses, and some of the cows won't stop anything smaller. If I just put a single strand at the bottom of the fence, that stops all the smaller animals, but that's not going to stop the camels from pushing the fence over that I'm having the issues with. I also had the question on why I'm putting the electric on the inside and not the outside. Let this truck go by. They're using J brakes on a straightaway. I don't understand it. They do it all the time. However, I had a couple people ask why I'm not swapping. Why don't I put the brush pile on the inside of the fence and the electric on the outside of the fence? And that is because I started putting the brush piles on the inside of the fence, and the dogs are jumping on the brush piles, the goats are climbing on the brush piles, and eventually they could probably get over the fence. Another reason why I'm not doing that because I don't want the dogs or any of the animals injured climbing on the branch piles. So that's why the branch piles are going on the outside of the fence. I still have several parts of the fence that I need to change. But another reason why I don't want the electric on the outside, yes, that would stop predators, that would stop the stray dogs and people's dogs that are trying to get under the fence. But the brush pile will do that same effect. With the brush pile, it's not solid. So if animals climb on it, it's going to move and then they get off of it. So that will stop the outside fence predators, neighbors' dogs, and things like that from trying to burrow under a fence because all that brush is in the way. By having the electric on the inside, I don't have to worry about anybody's kids or anybody's pets coming up to the fence and getting zapped by the fence. I don't have to buy a bunch of signs that say electric fence so people don't come up to the fence, so on and so forth. So that's another reason why the electric's on the inside. It's going to keep all my animals off the fence. It's going to keep the dogs off of the fence so I don't have to worry about them damaging the fence. 2, it's going to save my fence. I spend all this money on fence. I don't want it torn up. And 3, I don't have to worry about somebody being shocked on the outside of the fence because the electricity is on the inside of the fence. I had a question. Is my electric fence run by electricity? No, it's not run by electricity. I have a solar fence charger. It's a 30-mile. I bought the biggest one. It was expensive back in the day. And that's another question I had. Because I do not have power on the homestead. So I have to use solar in order to do the electric fence. It's not as powerful of a shock as the electric versions. The electric versions, you can go 10 times as powerful as what my fence is. Mine gives you a decent shock. Today when I was over there working on a fence, I leaned in a little too far to grab some sticks that were underneath the electric fence I ran already because I didn't rake it out first. I should have raked it out first. These are things I'm working on, things I'm learning. But I leaned in, it hit my shoulder, and boy, I came off. And, the dogs, Max got hit again today. So Max still hasn't learned. And he kept trying to go lay by the fence. And I'm like, Max, you're going to get zapped again. But that was another thing for the fence video. Everybody asked, am I throwing all this electric fencing on my credit cards? It's 50-50 on this. So I had the original fence charger that I bought years ago when the camels broke through the fence. And I had a couple spools of aluminum wire and some of the fence insulators that I had done around the very top of the fence. And I took that down so I could put branches over the fence to get the branches over because it kept catching on the wire and snagging the wire and damaging it. So I had most of the money already there. T-post, all those T-posts you see slanted, I have big bundles of T-posts that I brought from Colorado with me from all the fence I did in Colorado. I took down some of it. And so all those T-posts are mine as well. The only thing I'm putting on credit cards right now are the fence post insulators. I need the caps and I need some more of the 5-inch ones. So I am putting those on credit cards. So yes, going into debt some more to do this. But like I said, the camels are pushing through the fence again. So it's don't go into debt and have the camels break out and all my animals get loose again. Or B, go into a little bit debt, pay a little bit interest on credit cards. I'll be able to pay it off. I think I've only put either 160 or 180 bucks on credit cards for the insulators I bought. I still need some more, but I'm going to wait till next month to buy more. I'm just trying to space it out so I don't run up too much credit card debt again. But yeah, so those are the answers for those of you asking about the electric fencing video and all that. Hey DT, how you doing? If you have any questions, like I've said, you can put questions in. I'm going to go through this list and then I'll go through all the comments and go through everybody's questions, answer all the questions at the end. I had a question about, it was either last Sunday Monday vlog or the Sunday Monday vlog prior, and that was about with the divorce happening with the family that purchased the ranch in Colorado. why don't I just buy the ranch back and move back to Colorado? I've had a lot of people asking me if I would contemplate going back to Colorado. And the reason is A, I don't have the money to buy the ranch back. B, which is the biggest point, B for biggest point, is the simple fact that he could give me the ranch back. Even after he's put some money down on it and made some payments, he could give it to me where I don't need to pay anything, and I would not go back to Colorado. That was, for those of you that didn't see why I'm done homesteading and throwing in the towel, I think that was the headline of the video. It was the last video from Colorado that it took me a while to release emotionally because I didn't want to be seen crying on camera. And it just, the time in Colorado on the ranch was, it was good, but the neighbors were horrible. That community, was horrible. Try and regulate everything, try to call cops all the time, code enforcement, animal control, all that type of stuff. So no, I don't want to buy the ranch back. No, I'm not moving back to Colorado. Colorado was nice, scenery, no ticks, no flies, no humidity, all that was great. However, Colorado keeps getting more expensive. They're changing laws. I just saw another thing on Facebook earlier while I was sitting here at a snowball stand that the governor or senator, whoever, Polis, just signed another law that is going to keep the Tabor money away from people getting refunds, and sign something that they can increase property taxes yet again in Colorado. So Colorado just keeps getting more and more expensive. So I definitely don't ever want to go back to Colorado. It'd be nice if I could bring the lack of humidity here. However, without the lack of humidity, I wouldn't have all this vegetation and woods, which I need for growing, I need for the animals, so on and so forth. I've had a lot of things on YouTube go wrong, and so I've got this questions from over a month ago. YouTube is spamming and blocking it. Of course, if you cuss, if you're vile, stuff like that, YouTube blocks your comments and things like that. But they're starting to spam comments, and I'm not getting everybody's comments. So I went back and I have a whole lot of comments I never even seen, all the way to 2, 4, 5, 6 years ago, that I'm not going to respond to now, just due to there's so many years have passed, and those people might not even be on YouTube anymore or have that account anymore. But just over a month ago, I got a comment, and they were asking why I go to Harrison all the time. Why, with the community that's here in Searcy County, why am I spending my money outside of Searcy County? And there's valid, that's a valid point, and there's valid reasons and ideas in my mind on some things back and forth. So if you want to support a community, the community also has to support you. And my thought on why I go to Harrison all the time is because there are grocery stores here in Searcy County. However, the prices are totally ridiculous. You can go buy a handful of items at the grocery store here in Searcy County, and if you went to Harrison to Walmart, which I know a lot of people don't like Walmart, but in this day and age where everybody's on a tight budget, now yes, I spend more money because I use credit cards, so I don't count my money. That's why I'm in debt. But if I can go to Walmart for 3 or 4 items instead of going to the grocery store here, and it's a $25 to $30 difference, why would I put it here? Because it's less gas to get all the way up there, and then I can go to one of my restaurants I like, or go Tractor Supply, Home Depot, which we don't have Tractor Supply, Home Depot, stuff like that here in Searcy County. So my thought is, if businesses local want local support, then you have to support local. So, not saying, pat on my back or anything like that, but when I did the snowball stand last year, I did 20% off for Searcy County residents because I'm here in Searcy County. I want to support the locals. I'm not doing it this year because business is just completely dead. But my prices were cheaper than the snowball stands in Harrison. So right there, if they drove to Harrison, they're spending more money, not just on gas, but snowballs are more expensive. But then I'm also doing 20% discount. So I was trying to keep the money here in the community, the tax money, everything like that for the community. A lot of the places here, they're more expensive than Harrison. The grocery stores are more expensive, the restaurants are more expensive, and I understand you don't have as much traffic out here, but if you want to bring that traffic into you, you're going to have to reduce prices. Was I making a buttload of money on snowballs? No, I wasn't, because I was cheaper than Harrison, and then I did 20% off, so I lost a lot of money. I know that doesn't support, a lot of people can't support themselves that way. I understand that. But that's the reason why I go to Harrison almost all the time, because all my stuff at Tractor Supply, I get a discount at Tractor Supply. Some things I still get discount at Home Depot. And then I've got all my restaurants and things like that. And then, of course, Walmart. I get my dog food at Walmart. I get all the big bundles of carrots for $3 at Walmart. For the animals, for those of you that don't know, I use the carrots as a natural dewormer. So it just makes more sense to go there. The county said they've tried to bring a Walmart in. The locals don't want a Walmart here. Well, if they don't allow things like that, then that's what happens. Tax money is going to go out. That's another reason why Searcy County struggles some. The Searcy County Chamber of Commerce is doing really well. I've seen more from them than I've seen from other Chamber of Commerce from different places I've lived. I didn't join them because this was just a small little venture to try to help my neighbors next door. That ended up going to Texas because they couldn't survive here on such little bit of business. But on Facebook, I've been watching the Chamber of Commerce here for Searcy County, and they are. If I was to do a business, and for those of you that don't know, this is my last year for the snowball stand, and for those of you that knew that, you're going to be well that with the lack of business this year because of the economy, inflation, everything else, I think I'm going to be shutting down the snowball stand the end of June. So June 30th is probably going to be my last day, which sucks because last month I just paid the $150 to the state for the new license. I just paid $50 for the health inspector license and my business license and all that. So I just spent $300 doing all that, and now here I'm going to close the end of June. So I'm, it's a waste for me, but hey, the money's going to the community, so I am supporting the community. Plus, I got the rental house in Marshall, the restaurant here, and my 120 acres out there I'm paying taxes on, which there's a lot of people here that are in the rears on property tax, so I'm paying property tax on multiple properties, so that's also supporting the county. Also, my dumpster that's up here, they charge $40 a month for a dumpster, and I just paid them $120 for April, May, and June. So I pay my dumpster ahead of time, 3 months in advance, to try to help the trash business here for the county. So that way they have a little extra money ahead of time if they need that from people not paying the dumpster fees and stuff like that. So that's why I do a lot of business in Harrison and not here in Searcy County. I do some. I do restaurants here. But some of the restaurants here have raised their prices so high that, in my mind, no, not knocking them, but the food's not as good as other places that I go for less money. Or I've gone to restaurants here locally and had 3 and 4 bad meals in a row, and so I just don't go to those restaurants anymore. So um, for me, I like to tip, and I tip well, and to have meal after meal bad, and I give good tips, then I just don't want to waste that money anymore. My money is more valuable than that, and I can go to a place that gives me decent food, good service, and everything else. So that's my little rant on that little part. Um, I'm getting this question a lot. When am I moving on to the homestead? When am I going to start building my house? I wish I could grab this phone right now, walk over, hop in the truck, go over to the homestead, and film from my back porch with the animals in the background. However, I don't have the money. Between the ranch money being tied up, my rental house in Marshall that's sitting vacant, that I'm paying property taxes on, and not having any money come in on that. It hasn't sold. My money here, property taxes on all the properties, and everything else. I just don't have the money to get building. As soon as the stars align, or a multimillionaire or billionaire or trillionaire or a rich organization wants to donate some money for me to get over there, it's going to be a bit. Even if I cut back all my spending, I I only have $900 a month after all my bills. The animal feed is up to $2,700 a month now. I got the water, electric, sewer, trash. Now that we're in warm weather with the ticks and the fleas, the dog and the flea and tick medicine for the dogs is $160 a month. I'm just totally strapped. I spend well over $3,000 a month on the animals on a $3,300 a month income. Plus, I'm getting from the homesteader family the $250 a month there, and then I buy ahead of time, so my hay and feed is not exactly $27. It's a little bit cheaper, but that's what I'm spending when I do buy everything up front. So as soon as I can, I'll get over there. I know everybody wants videos, but like I said, the good news is the snowball stand, unless business picks up a bunch, I was hoping to be able to be open all summer and at least try to make enough money to rent a piece of the equipment to start, the road and ponds and stuff like that at the homestead. But I don't even think I'm going to do that. Today, I was open for 5.5 hours and had 0 customers. So I had the ice machine running, the freezers running, the AC in the snowball room running, the lights, the radio, everything running. So my overhead, I'm just throwing money away to be open. That's why, unless everything picks up, I'm going to be closing June 30th. And then I don't have to worry about the snowball stand. And even though it's summer, I'll be able to go over to Homestead for an hour here, 2 hours there in the heat. I'll probably, since I won't be doing the snowball stand, I'm going to be spending some time down at the river. I can't do live streams at the river. Oh, excuse me. Due to the fact that there's bad reception at the river. But I will start getting back into learning how to edit. I want to take some pictures around St. Joe and have that as part of my intro. Pictures of the animals and things like that. And I'm going to start doing edited videos again, so I can do some videos down at the river, edit them, and upload them, so it's not just live streams. So it would be better quality. I'll have my intro, some music I can start adding again, and get back into doing that, because we all know summertime, I'm not going to be out here 8 hours a day trying to do anything because it's too hot. So that's what I can do as quick as I can do, and then I'll get to the homestead as soon as I possibly can, because I really want to. As for the next question, I've had people put this out there, and my grandmother, my mama up in Colorado, she's even given me this idea. And everybody, I love the ideas, and like I said, There's no bad ideas. You can send me whatever ideas you want, but it doesn't mean I'm going to take it. I'm not going to live your idea of your life unless it fits for my way. Some people have said do this, do that, and you've seen over years I've done this, I've done that because it works out. Now, what I'm talking about is I've been asked multiple times, and like I said, my grandmother even said this. Why don't I just stay here at the restaurant? Don't worry about building a house. And that way I don't need the money to build a house. I don't need the money to build a driveway. And I can just go back and forth. If any of you are homesteaders, if you have your animals, if you watch this channel going back several years, when I was living on my 2.5 acres at my house, and I was in the process of buying the ranch, doing the rent to own on the ranch, when Jeff did that for me at $250 a month to be able to buy the ranch over time. And then when I got my VA, I was able to put money down and then do a owner finance. And then when I got a loan against the land out here, then I was able to pay him off and then own the ranch outright. But back then, when I was in my house and I had the animals over on the ranch because I didn't have enough room on my land, no vegetation, no grass, just like right now, they're struggling in that small pen. I need a bigger pen. It was hard. You don't want to be away from your animals. This is fine and dandy to live here, have electricity, water, but this isn't where the heart is. This isn't a home. This is just a temporary place to live. I know it's a big savings, not having to build a house, not having to put a driveway in, not having to do all that. But living here with traffic, when there is traffic, sirens, no animals, it's just not home. It's not where my heart is. So that's why this is not a good idea for me. It could fit some people, but if you're not there with your animals, what's the point of having the animals? That's my opinion. You don't know if predators are there killing something or hurting something. When babies are born, there's several times, if I lived on the homestead, I could have possibly caught babies and saved babies that froze or had issues or things like that. But then again, you can live on a homestead and 3 o'clock in the morning, after you go back in the house at 2, they have a baby at 3. And in 15 minutes, if you're not out there, they could pass away anyhow. So just living on a homestead is not going to solve all the problems. However, being able to look out the window and see animals in your yard, or being able just to walk out with the dogs and just walk around for 15 minutes or do something on the homestead without all the driving back and forth. And that's what's killing me here. That's what was killing me in Colorado. However, Colorado, I had 20 miles or whatever back and forth. So it was like 30-minute drive back and forth from the house to the ranch. And then when I was with Carla in Marshall, I was driving 20 miles back and forth. Now I'm only 6 miles back and forth. But that's still, it's time out my day. I can't get stuff done because I'm driving. It's costing me more money in gas, wear and tear on the truck. Like I just said, $2,500 just went into my truck this past month to rebuild the whole front end, brand new tires, everything else. So yeah, I don't want to live here. That's just not feasible for me. Another big question I'm getting a lot of is, am I getting new animals? Am I getting more animals? Am I getting different types of animals? I have this all the time. Until I'm living on my homestead, until I have pens built, until I had the barn built, until I have ponds installed, until the animals are completely taken care of the way I see fit, I will not be getting any more animals. I hate that the animals are in the situation they're in now. However, you can look at other conditions of animals in other places, and there's a lot of animals way worse off than mine. But to me, this is not the situation I want my animals to be in. I want a barn built for them I want big pens that I can rotate. I want them to be able to be on grass, not on dirt like they are now. I want them to have leaves and stuff that they can forage for. So until I do all that, no new animals. The only new animals will be babies being born, which I'm going to be figuring out shortly. Now that I'm going to be closing down the snowball stand possibly June 30th, unless, like I said, business picks up for the summer. I am going to start taking photos of the babies and the animals that I have that I want to sell and get them posted. And I am going to reduce some of my animals, mostly just the newborn babies or the 1 to 2 year old babies that I haven't got rid of, because some of the goats and stuff are getting to a point I'm going to have to ban them, to castrate them, for those of you that don't know, so they don't breed back to their mothers or brothers and sisters and stuff like that. I'm going to keep the girls, get rid of the boys. Or I might end up banning a bunch of the billy goats so they can't breed, let them grow for another year or two, and then butcher some out to make dog food. We all know dog food is getting really expensive, and I got 4 big old pooches that eat a lot of dog food. Okay, the video that I posted at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock this morning about Pastor Dow, I've already had a couple people send me emails on this. So if you guys didn't see my post, I posted a video. I finally found the video that I saw in 2011, and I have description there because people ask what made me turn into a homesteader from being in the city. And there's that. So you can go back to that post and look. Well, I've had a couple people, I guess, look into Pastor Dow, and I got emails, and they're like, do I agree with Pastor Dow? Do I agree with his views? Do I agree with his lifestyle? All that type of stuff. Am I religious? And then the question that followed that was, what do I believe in? So, Pastor Dow is ex-military. So if you guys do your due diligence on him, he's not just some crackpot like I thought he was in the beginning. He's ex-military, ex-special forces, served his country, did his thing. Do I believe in the whole religious thing he believes in? No, I do not. Do I believe in the community? The community aspect I believe in. However, like I said in the last Sunday Monday vlogger, the one before, I'm antisocial. I don't want to be around a bunch of people. I'm surprised Pastor Dow wants to do the whole community thing, because for anybody that's done training for special forces or went that avenue, special forces, Ranger, Delta, all that, you don't like crowded areas. I don't like crowded areas anymore. I used to go concerts when I was younger. Used to go hang out at the mall. I don't want to go anywhere where there's a lot of population. It's just a mental thing. If you haven't done it, you don't understand it. And how he likes to do the community, I don't understand. But me, I don't want to do the community. Community would be a great, great thing for homesteading. And like I said, I don't know if I said on the post, but I went out to Straightway, which is his community, twice. One time he wasn't there, so it was just a quick stop. And then the second time he was there, I was able to meet him, his wife. They took me to their house, sat down in the kitchen, we talked and everything. And he's the first person, I'm not a religious person, and he asked me straight point blank, he said, do you believe in God? And I know a lot of you might not be happy with me, but I said, no, I don't. And he's the very first person that said, well, that's between you and him. That's not for me to say anything. And went on to the next subject, and we started talking about something else. That's the first time somebody hasn't, well, there's this and this and this and this and this, and pamphlets and the Bible, and try to stick it down your throat. I was raised Roman Catholic because I come from an Italian family. And I went to CCD classes as a little kid and CYC as a teenager. and religion was just down your throat. Every Sunday gotta go, for the holidays gotta go, Ash Wednesday, you know, communion, um, all those things just slam down your throat. So in his videos, for a lot of you out there, if you've never been to Straightway, then you'll never know. If you never go to Straightway, you never know. Pastor Dow is totally different in person than he is on the videos, which is a total night and day effect. On the videos, he seems crazy. He seems just out there. In person, he's so humble. He's very kind, very generous. Just a great person in my mind. I don't believe in the whole religious thing they're doing, how they do everything. That's them. Everybody has their own way of life. Same thing with, like I said, if you give me ideas and things like that, that's his idea. You know, it may fit me, it may not fit me. Everybody believes in their own things. They all do their own stuff, and that's where we go. So, no, I don't believe in his stuff. I do believe in the community. I will say for religion, there's a lot of pastors, preachers, fathers, whatever you want to call them, in whatever religion you're in. They talk a lot of stuff, but rarely do they do anything, let alone be able to help people out and support the community in a way that's supporting. You know, it goes back to the old saying that you could give somebody a fish and they eat for a day, or you can teach them how to fish and they can eat for a lifetime. And that is what he and his community were doing. When I was there, the pear trees that had thousands of pears on each tree, the greenhouses, the gardens, the food stocks and everything like that. A lot of churches don't have that for their communities, and there's people that you're able to live on that community, eat that food. Everybody works together. That's where community, in my mind, is a good thing for the homesteading. Like I said, you watch Walking Dead and stuff like that. If you think doomsday prepper mindset and you think those things are going to come, then you definitely want a community to try to help preserve your homestead and your farms and gardens, like what Pastor Dow has out there. So that's the Pastor Dow questions. That's my thought. I highly recommend, if anybody is around Lafayette, Tennessee, if you go anywhere close to Lafayette, Tennessee, I drove 3.5 hours out the way to go down to meet him and his wife. And it's well worth just seeing. I mean, just seeing what a community is possible, or the possibility that a community can still do today like they did way back in the day. It's really amazing to see something like that in effect still working and not being ripped apart by people just trying to take everything. Another was predators in Colorado versus predators in Arkansas, and what I have to deal with here versus what I've had to deal with in Colorado. So for those of you that see my mountain lion video, know that I almost got killed by a mountain lion in Colorado. I had bear issues, had the mountain lion issues, had lynx issues, had bobcat issues, and had coyote issues, along with some loose dogs that weren't neighbors. They were dogs that got dumped out there as well. And I think that's all the predators I had in Colorado. Out here in Arkansas, some people say there's no mountain lions in Arkansas, but 80% of the people here in Arkansas say yes, there's mountain lions here. And I'm sure they are, but they're very rare. I have not seen any tracks in the mud on my property. I have not seen any running across the road like in Colorado with me and my grandfather driving down road when one ran out in front of my truck and stuff like that. And the ones I had over at my house, the ones I had at the ranch, I haven't seen any. So they may be here. It may take me a while to see them, but I haven't had an issue with them. because now I'm doing my fencing like I did at the ranch. I don't have coyote issues. Uh, Lynx, it is too hot down here. We don't have the lynx issues here. The bobcats are explosive down here. There's so many bobcats. So the predators down here, if you are looking at Arkansas, wanting to move to Arkansas, is going to be bears. I see pretty much every year. I haven't really had a bear issue. My neighbor right next to the homestead has issues with the bear, but he has seed and stuff on the ground, so that's going to draw the bears in. Coyotes, one of the biggest problem ones here are the hogs. You're going to have hog issues. I got hogs on the homestead. I haven't had an issue, but they've gotten into Steve's garden down there. So Steve's dealing with the hogs back there. My neighbors told me I've had hogs up at my grain feeder outside the fence, but so far they haven't come through the fence. Another reason why I'm doing the brush piles on the outside of the fence, that will also help stop the hogs, because they're not going to want to go through a 4 foot by 4 foot brush pile to try to get in a fence. I don't think. If they do, you know, more power to them, but I'm hoping not. Bobcats, coyotes, the hogs, and the bears. That's all you have down here. If you have chickens, like you saw, Carla, I bought all those chickens for Carla. All those chickens are gone. Everybody's asked, that's another question I've never answered, where all the chickens went. All my geese, ducks, that went through. Dogs that are running around the homestead, hawks, eagles. I've had bald eagles on the homestead. They like to take chickens really quick, grab one and take off. The bobcats, we have the raccoons, we have possums. I'm not sure what else would take chickens here, but there's all different things. And then, of course, eggs, all the different snakes come and get eggs. So that's the difference between Colorado to here. I'm not having the predator issue as in big predator taking down goats and bigger animals, where Colorado, you know, I had to deal with bigger animal loss. Here it's just bird loss. My garden and seed plans. I had thrown some seeds back here, but you can see nothing grew. Why? It's a total canopy. No sun gets through. Everything grew up, vines and everything else. So unless you clear out here and keep it clear like this yard, everything grows right back in. So this year, no garden. I do have my blackberry bush up here that I've been adding a little bit fertilizer to. That was here. It's a thornless blackberry bush, and this is doing really good this year. And everything's flowered, and you can see all the berries that are going to be popping. So this is one thing, and then you can see all the purple tops right there by the sidewalk. That's all garlic shoots. So I'll have the wild garlic there, and then back there, way back in the woods, there's a big garlic patch. I want to get garlic, and I want to get thornless blackberries, and they are going to the homestead this winter. I'm gonna garden next year. Like I said, I won't have the snowball stand going next year. I'm closing down for good, and when I do that, that will give me all the time to get the garden going. So for those of you that been excited for me to get back to doing a garden like I had at my house, because I never got around to it at the ranch, I am going to try to do a garden. Steve's gardening as well. So between the two of us, you know, I might not have as much time as he has, because he's more focused on gardening. I'm more focused on fencing and doing stuff for the animals. But I do plan to get some gardening going next year. I am going to make time. And here, since I won't have people here, in here, I'll be doing some type of gardening. I got to figure out if I'm going to do pots or do it in the ground, try to clear some of the woods, what I'm going to do. But I do plan to have vegetables for next year. So that is one thing I've had a question on a bunch of times, and we'll get to that. And then the last one, am I happy? I need a drink of soda for this one, because this will be a bit. I'll make it real short. A lot of people have said some of my videos, I don't seem so happy here in Arkansas. Some videos I seem really excited here in Arkansas. So the big question is, am I truly happy here in Arkansas? It's going to go both ways. I am extremely, extremely excited to be here. And that's why some of my videos are so excited. And I am so unhappy at the same time. But it's not with Arkansas. Arkansas is, like I said, everything I could dream it to be. I couldn't imagine being somewhere else. Community-wise, weather-wise, I mean, like I said, I struggle here weather-wise, but it's still, it's nice. But the unhappy part is going back to several questions ago. And that is, why don't I live here? The unhappy part is, I leave here, I go over to the homestead, I work. If the dogs are here at the restaurant because it's too hot for them to be out there all day, then I'm out there, then I gotta come home when I'm too hot, when I'm gonna get lunch or whatever, come back, let the dogs out, then I gotta turn around, go back over there again. Because I'm not with the animals, because I'm not living on the homestead, because this does not feel like a home, this is just a building I'm sleeping in, there's not that happiness. There's not that peace of mind. It's just every day I wake up in a building I don't want to be in, to go over to the homestead, to constantly work, to do whatever I can to get things progressed for the animals and eventually for me, to turn around, hop back in the truck, drive again, to come back to a place that's not home, and repeat day after day after day, week after week after week, month after month, year after year. So that's the degrading part of my life right now, of not being happy. And like I said, that has nothing to do with Colorado or with Arkansas, because in Colorado I had that same problem when I was living at my house and all the animals were at the ranch. It was just a steady grind, not being able to live where I want to live, not feeling at home. When I moved onto the ranch in that camper trailer, I was able to go outside the camper trailer, sit in a chair like this, these rocking chairs that I had in Colorado, and be able to sit there, listen to the birds. Well, no, because we really didn't have that many birds in Colorado. Listening to the tree frogs and stuff like that, like I have here, not in Colorado. But be able to just sit out there in silence. It was silent in Colorado. But be able to sit there and see the animals, watch the camels hike up across the mountain, watch the horses running, the donkeys chasing each other and doing stuff like that. And being able to go inside, watch a TV show for a little bit, come back outside, just enjoy what I have. Here, it's not that. Because coming out here to sit here outside of the restaurant, I listen to cars. Yeah, it's peaceful listening to birds, it's peaceful being here. But this isn't where my heart is. This isn't where the home is. So, I want to say I'm 75% happy, 25% sad. But to be honest, it's more like a 50-50 split. As soon as I can get over to the homestead, it will be like a 95 to 5% split, because you're never 100% happy all the time. And I don't care who you think you are. Just like me, I put on faces just like Robin Williams and everybody else, you know, make jokes, smile all the time. I want to be happy all the time. You're never going to be happy all the time. That's why I said 95 5% split. Because that 5%, you still have bad days, you still have rough days. When everything goes wrong for a couple days, you're just down in the dumps, and that's what it is. So that is the end of the questions on this. So I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to check out this long chat and go through your questions. Anybody that's in here now, you can ask questions in the chat, and I'll get to them as I go down this list. Because we're over an hour already. So this went on way longer than I thought. So I probably won't be hauling water today. I'll be hauling water tomorrow. Let's see. Happy Camper said, where can I buy tiger cubs? That I have no idea. You're going to have to go through a breeder. And depending on your state, you need expensive licenses and permits and everything else to have. I forget what category they run into, but you can look that up on USDA. They have all that information there. Same thing with the line too. Does electric fence have lots of amps? As for the amps, that I don't know. Like I said, it's a solar powered. You can look. It's a 30 mile. It's a brown box with solar panel on top. It's all metal box. You can look that up on Google. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know the volts, amps, all that type of stuff. Not sure how much the Happy Camper asked how much the camels eat per day. I'm not sure exactly how much they eat. They eat whatever they want. I have hay out there 24/7. They have whatever forage they can find as well. And then I do a sweet feed for all the animals, which is a molasses sweet feed. Once a day. So I do 7 5-gallon buckets a day right now. Wintertime, I double that, so I'll be up to 14 buckets. So wintertime, I go through a lot of feed. But that's because I want them to have the calories to stay warm for shivering through the nights in the cold without barns and things like that. Let's see. DT says probably 40, 50 pounds, similar to cattle. Probably somewhere in there. I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know how much all the animals eat except by the tonnage, because I buy it by the tonnage, so I know they go through enough tonnage throughout the month that I keep track. Because I order 3 tons of sweet feed every 25 days right now. Wintertime, I do it twice a month. How do you keep away all the mountain lions that are eating camels? I don't think mountain lions would go after a camel. Possibly. Horses, I know they do. Camels can be aggressive, so I would say no. Elephants would be no. You need permits and everything like that. They're, I think, endangered. Let's see. No, pot is not legal here in Arkansas. Thank God. Even though, like I said, I'm not religious, I will say thank God it's not legal here. That's one thing I hated in Colorado. Anywhere I went, you smelled marijuana. I hate that smell. That smell gives me an instant headache. I don't know what it is about marijuana, but I hate that smell. And then Scott said, I was raised Catholic too, and also not a believer, but not against religion as long as it helps. I agree with you there, Scott. That's like I've had a lot of people say, I'm more religious than most religious people. I'm more green than green people. I'm more hippie than hippies and stuff like that. Like when I had my 2.5 acres that I built my house on, when I was dating Sarah, that farmer, all her friends were greenies, you know, saying, don't use gas, don't use diesel, all that type of stuff. I don't care which way you go on that. But I was off grid. I did solar power and everything else, and they had cars, brand new cars with gas and diesel and tractors and stuff like that. So, you know, it is what it is. We all choose our own path in life. My thing is, if you're on your land, you should be able to do whatever you want. If you mess with somebody on their land, that's something different. If you have a bunch of cattle and your cattle are getting out every other day and eating and pooping on somebody else's property, you're interfering with their property. Um, you should maintain your animals. You should maintain yourself. Um, you shouldn't just decide, hey, I want to go see what's on the back of this guy's property and walk through their property, because it's not your property. And same thing with religion, um, alcohol, drugs, whatever. We all choose our own thing. Whether you spend it on beer, cigarettes, marijuana, camels, expensive feed bills like me, cars, comic books. We all have our own vices. We all, like I said, we live our own life. And with that, if there's no more questions, then I will just venture to say that's why my famous saying is live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. I hope everybody's had a great weekend. I know you won't do it, but I really think you should sell some of the larger animals to improve your cash flow. You could do a lot with an extra $1,000 a month. Scott, that's what my grandmother tells me. That's what my neighbor, my mom and pa from Kansas tell me. You have a good night too, DT. It's hard, Scott, because I built a bond with all of them. The only ones I'm really willing to get rid of are the babies. When the animals get older, then, like I said, I'm going to be buying more animals in the future, but it's going to be different varieties, I think, or I don't know exactly. I know one thing, I want to get a bunch of emus. I want a big flock of emus running around, 20, 30 of them, because emus don't eat much. They're very hardy, and they're goofy as all get out when they're running around. And so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. But camels, I don't want to get rid of, because who owns camels? The cattle, if I have 11 zebu now, total with the new baby. And if you don't have more zebu, then I'm only getting 1 or 2 babies a year. And if you want to be able to have more babies to sell per year, you need more. But at the same time, I want to wait until I get a bigger pen built. I want to wait till I have the barn built. I want to wait till they have land that they can forage on that will reduce my feed bill. That's why my number one thing, like I've said for a couple Sunday, Monday vlogs, is by January, February, with the money I have now, as long as nothing goes horribly bad, $900 a month buying fencing material now until February, I should have enough to get a pen done by next spring and be able to move the animals over to the new pen. What I might end up doing is I might get some extra electric fence right now, because that's cheaper than running the hardwire, and doing a small section for like 4 hours a day while I'm there, so I know the electric fence isn't getting knocked down, and let them go through the bottom gate, eat some of the vegetation to help cut back on the feed bill, and then run them back into their pen, shut the hard gates, and that way if a branch or something goes down an electric fence later, that's fine. The animals can't take off through it. And then eventually I'll have the whole thing fenced. But that's my goal. I know it's hard to get rid of what you want. So, and the animals are what make me happy. So we'll see how things go. I appreciate the tip, Scott. My grandmother tells me the same thing. It's just, I'm just not willing to. So with that, I hope everybody has a great night. I hope everybody has a great week. Get ready. Summer temperatures are almost here. ACs are cranking. It's going to be a hot one this year. Take care. I'll see you guys later.